Howdy, y'all. I gotta give you the Hugh greeting. Howdy, y'all.
You are in North Carolina. You are in North Carolina.
I am in North Carolina.
You can purchase all of Dr. Morgan's products at her website at www.drjudymorgan.com. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
So, good morning, afternoon. I don't even know what it is. Oh, afternoon. Never mind. Gwen told me I had to go live today. I told her it was a holiday. So, you're getting my holiday preparations. So, I am not making food for dogs, contrary to popular belief, and I've got dogs lined up thinking, okay, mom's in the kitchen, we're doing dog food. I'm actually making an open blueberry pie, because I thought that would be very patriotic, and well, it'll be white and blue. I guess I could put some strawberries on top. But we still have frozen blueberries and blackberries from last year when we went berry picking. And so I'm actually going to mix in some blackberries and some blueberries. And so I am working on, I'm going to use an olive oil pie dough, something that I discovered not too long ago and I actually really like it. So this bowl is my olive oil and eggs. So there's 1/3 cup plus 2 tablespoons of olive oil and then 2 eggs. I'm going to whisk that together. And then I'm going to mix it into my dry ingredients, which is 1 3/4 cups of flour, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon and a half of baking powder. This makes a really light, fluffy pie crust that I absolutely adore. So basically we're going to mix these two things together, and then it's going to go in the refrigerator for a little bit. And then I'll put it in my pie pan and put it in the oven, bake it. So it's sort of a no-bake pie in that the crust gets baked and then all of the berries get cooked on top of the stove with some cornstarch and sugar. What else am I putting in there? Sugar, cornstarch, salt, butter, berries. And so I'll cook that on top of the stove until it gets really, really thick. And then pour that in my pie crust and put it in the refrigerator, and it'll get nice and solid. And then I'm going to make my own whipped cream from Heavy Cream with whipped cream and sugar and vanilla. And that'll give us a really nice, it's supposed to be like 90 degrees today, so it'll be a nice cooling treat. And frankly, if the dogs got a little bit, it would not be the end of the world for them. There's really nothing bad for them in there except a little sugar and the berries. So, you know, so what are you guys doing with your holiday? Hugh is making us dinosaur ribs. So I guess they're beef ribs. So beef rib bones are, you know, it's like Fred Flintstone, and they're like this wide and this long, and he's got 3 ribs that have been on the smoker since, on the smoker?
Yeah.
Since about, I don't know, 7, 8 o'clock this morning. He was up early. I woke up and he was already gone. He came in the bedroom and said, "You ready for coffee?" I'm like, "Where have you been?" It's like, "I had to get my ribs going." So, yeah, he's really into that sort of thing. So the kittens have, for most of them, it was their first foray outside. We fenced off the outdoor kitchen area with an X-pen so that they could explore outside a little bit. I threw some dried leaves in there. And it didn't take them, oven's ready. Didn't take them too long to figure out that they could climb the X-pen, leap over to the other side, and then it's like a free-for-all trying to corral 8 kittens. And the entire time Forrest was going crazy because he really thinks that he wants to play with kittens, but he plays so dang rough that the poor kittens just sit there and tremble while they're trying to scratch his eyes out. So we got to work on his catitude. He likes them. He just wants to play with them. He plays really rough, so he's kind of a pain. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about, for those of you who were watching the summit, and I was doing cat enrichment with Judy and Thorne. So there's my dough ball ready to go in the fridge. We were talking about like scratching posts and that kind of stuff for our kitties. And I said that Hugh had ordered me a new scratching post because our cats had literally destroyed theirs. And he got this little tiny one. that was really cute for the kittens. He was going to send it back, and I said, no, it's perfect for the baby kitties. But hanging off the top of that scratching post, and it's great because it had the 2 different kinds of carpet, and they loved it. They pounce on it all the time. But it had like a elastic with a fluffy ball attached to it. If you saw the post this morning of applesauce peeking over the top, she's sitting at the top of the scratching post with the ball. So the stretchy cord on it was only about this long, and so it was great. The kittens would bat at it and play with it. So one day last week, Gwen and I heard the death scream coming from the room that the cats are in, and we both went running in there, and little Barbecue somehow managed to get up the post, wrap that around his neck, his heart. I can't remember what Barbecue is. Is Barbecue a girl? I think she's a girl. Managed to get that looped and tied around her neck. God knows how, and she literally was hanging from this dumb little ball on the elastic cord. So the cord wasn't very long. You wouldn't think that an animal could kill themselves on this little thing. They can. So this is the public service announcement. Never leave your pets alone with anything, because if there's a way to get in trouble, they absolutely will. So luckily Gwen and I were right there. We were able to get the kitty, we were there right as it happened, so we were able to get the kitty unattached. We cut the string off the ball. They now get to play with the fluffy ball, and they don't have anything on a string. So I know a lot of people like to use the feather toys and the, long things on strings, and so I see pictures of them on social media all the time where people tie them to like a doorknob where the cats can bat at them. Well, let me just tell you, if you leave any kind of linear, stretchy cord, even not stretchy cord, your cat will figure out how to try to kill themselves with it. So don't ever leave anything linear out, because even if a dog ate it, that's a linear foreign body. It can cut through the bow, and then you have a really expensive emergency surgery if they live through surgery. So just always be aware that if your animals can find a way to get in trouble, they absolutely will. It's like having 10 toddlers in that room. Oh my gosh. And so we have to kitten-proof everything. Every morning, like the other night, there's a box of tissues sitting on the desk in there. Yeah, there was a tissue confetti explosion all over. I think they spent all night shredding tissues. They knocked the box on the floor and then pulled all the tissues out and then shredded them all night long. It was a lot of fun for them. I guess it was a lot of fun for me cleaning up as well. So just be aware that your children, your fur children, can get in trouble just like a toddler can. So I let the kittens play in the kitchen until they all figured out how they could get over the gate, and I couldn't chase 8 of them at one time, so then they had to come back inside because it was just impossible to keep track of everyone. So we're slowly getting them acclimated to new things in their life. So anyway, that is my Memorial Day post. I'm going to get back to, I got to put this in the fridge, and then I'm going to start baking or cooking my berries on top of the oven and making my really fun. So for those of you who are interested in what the blueberry, because I gave you the recipe for the olive oil pie dough, the blueberry mix is a cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of butter, 4 cups of berries, and literally it just cooks on top of the stove, and you stir and stir and stir for 10-15 minutes until it gets really thick. The longer you stir it, the thicker it gets, but you have to keep stirring so that it doesn't burn on the bottom of the pan and keep it over really low heat. But I've made this many times. It's really awesome. I started making it because we had all these berries that we picked, and I wanted something fun to make with them.
Show them your cookbook.
Oh, this is my favorite. I have a whole 2 shelves of cookbooks over here, but this one's my favorite. Fanny Farmer. I really love Fanny Farmer. So you can see I got lots of things marked in there. I've got things highlighted and turned down.
And how long have you had it?
I think I got that one in 1985. So I actually have my grandmother's Betty Crocker cookbook and my mother's Betty Crocker cookbook. My grandmother's lives in a baggie because it is completely fallen apart, but I still have it. And then the olive oil pie dough recipe I found online, so that just lives in my cookbook here. But this one's my favorite. I also have the joy of cooking. I don't like that one as much. They make it more complicated, I think. I had a bunch of vegetarian cookbooks when I was vegetarian. Those pretty much gone by the wayside because now I live with Mr. Metasaurus who makes dinosaur ribs. So, and we have a friend visiting from New Jersey. Actually, she's full-time RVing for the past 4 years. Kind of jealous. She spends her winter in Florida. She spends her summer in Maine and goes in between in the spring and fall. So we're kind of on her stop on the way up from Florida, and then she's going to spend some time in New Jersey, and then as it gets hotter there, she's going to move up to Maine and upstate New York for a while, which is so cool, so cool. So Hugh and I are thinking we'll still get back out there one of these days. Bo's been in the shop for over a month. Don't know when she's coming home, so even though we've got some travel coming up, we don't have Bo. So. All right, I can't turn the music back on because I'm kind of greasy and I don't want to grease up Hugh's phone. So everybody have a wonderful holiday. Stay safe. Make sure that if you're going to a picnic or having a picnic that you're keeping track of your pets and what's being handed out to them by people who might be showing up at your picnics. Remember healthy snacks like pieces of watermelon, awesome for them. So fresh fruits but not grapes. Don't give them any cooked fats, and no cooked bones, so there will be no sharing of the dinosaur ribs with the dogs. So I've got some treats in the freezer from the summit weekend that we made, so the dogs will probably get some of those. Sarah really likes to get those out and feed them to the dogs. So that's probably what we'll be doing. Everybody have a wonderful day, and tomorrow we'll probably talk about animals a little more. Happy baking!